Hello guys, in today's tutorial we're going to make a request that a user called Lucio Aquino asked for, and that is to make a object that you can grab and then throw. So that's what we're going to do today. So without further ado, let's get started. First we have to create here an object that you can grab, and a bunch of tutorials ago I made this block over here, a push block, which you could, just push away. I'll show you. Just put them like that. You can't grab them, just push them. And I'm going to use this so that I don't have to create a new one. But what this basically has is a box collider like this and a rigid body. It's nothing more, just that. Of course, that's really simple. Anyone can create it. And to make it grabbable, I'm going to create here a tag called grabbable, so that we can access it through another script and grab it. So grabbable. Okay. And now in our player script, I'm going to create here a new script called grabber script. Create an add, and let's open it. And basically, the way that this is going to work is, if we are not grabbing anything and we press B or any other key, I'll put B, then we grab something. But if we are grabbing something and press B, then we will throw the object. Anyways, let's get started. So like I said, if input dot get key down, we should actually start using get button down, but because I'm kind of lazy, I'm going to use get key down, key code dot p, like so. And I'm going to click here. I'm going to make it public so that you can see it in the inspector, but it should be private. So public bool grabbing or grabbed. Okay. If not grabbed, then we want it to grab. So here we want it to grab. Else, meaning if it's grabbed, we want it to throw. So throw. Okay. And now let's start programming this part over here. So the way that we want a player to detect that something is grabbable is that we're going to throw a raycast out of the player. A raycast is just a line, just like this one, a line that if the line collides with the box or something that has a tag grabbable, just like this tag over here, then the player will be able to grab it in a certain position and will be able to move it around. So let's get started on that. So like I said, we're going to use a raycast. So if you don't know a lot about raycast, I recommend you watch the videos in the description. Anyways, physics 2D raycast, and the origin of the raycast is a transform dot position, and the direction is vector2 dot right times transform dot local scale dot x. And as you may remember in previous tutorials, we used this. This is basically the direction that the player is facing. So vector right is the default direction. Right now the player is facing right, and if the scale changes, then it's this times -1, because the scale x is -1, and it's still the direction that the player is facing. Anyways, we're going to throw a raycast in that direction, and we want to make this equal to something. So if you don't know, the raycasts return a raycast hit 2D in this case, because this is physics 2D. So I'm going to create a raycast 2D hit variable and make it equal to this. And this hit variable holds some information, and let me show you what information it holds. It holds a centroid, it doesn't matter much, a collider, which we're going to use, a distance, which is the distance from the origin that we hit the impact point. Fraction isn't used much. Normal, it's also useful, but we're not going to use it. Point, also useful. Rigid body, and transform, and that's it. So what we want to do is to check if it collided with something. Oh, and by the way, we have to give it a distance. So I'm going to put here a distance. And let's put here public float distance, which is the maximum distance that we can detect something. And like I did in the Blink tutorials, I'm going to put here a void onDraw Gizmos function so that you can see what that ray actually is. So you don't actually need to do this part. Anyways, we want to put the Gizmos.color to be equal to green, and we want to draw a line. So Gizmos.draw line at the transform.position, and the position that we want to travel to is transform.position plus this vector over here. Okay, like that. And just I'm going to put the distance to be by default to float. And there's a little thing that I forgot to do right now, and that is really important, which is to do this over here. Physics 2D dot raycast starting colliders equals false. And this line is really important right now. And as you know, the raycasts are lines that collide with triggers and colliders. So if we instantiate the raycast from the transformed position of the player, which is the center, it will immediately collide with the collider of the player, and we don't want that. So it won't. So this way it won't collide with the player itself, and it will travel on until it collides with something else. So that's basically it. Now let me just save it so that you can. Oops. And over here there's a few mistakes. So first of all, this draw line only takes 2 arguments, and I put this here 3. So we have to multiply this for the distance. And here, the on draw gizmos is only on 3D, so put here letter 3 dot right. It will work. And now in Unity, you'll see that there's a green line, and that green line is the raycast. And as you can see, it's a bit too big, because if our player is at this distance, he shouldn't be able to catch that box. So what I'm going to do is here, going to the script, and decrease it a bit until, let's see, is this fine? Maybe, okay, I think this is fine. If you can, you can put it the distance be smaller, of course. Anyways, now let's actually grab it. So to grab, we have to check if it hits something. So if hit dot collider isn't null, so if it isn't null, it means that it hits something and that we can do something. And first of all, we're going to make that grab variable that we did in here in the top equal to true, meaning that we are now grabbing something. And out of this if clause, also in the update function, we want to use that information to do something. So if grabbed, then what I want to do is to use that collider over here, is to find that game object and put it in a certain position. So I'm going to find that game object, so hit, which is that this whatever the raycast collider with, dot collider dot game object to access the game object, and we want it to put it at a certain position, so transform dot position equals, and now we're going to put here a certain position, and that position could be any point. So the way that I'm going to do is that I'm going to create here in the player an empty game object and call it hold point, which is a point where we hold it. We will hold whatever we are holding. I'm going to give it this colored thing so that we can see it, as we see, and we can put it anywhere. Usually the most popular spots to put it is here in front of the player or above it. I'm going to put it in front like that. Anyways, with that done over there, I'm going to create here a public variable, public transform hold point, which is the point where we'll hold that. And here we're going to make hold point dot position, like so that the whatever we are grabbing is being held in that position. All we have to do now is to build, and here we have to drag the old point into that space over there. So old point, drag it into here, and let's see if this is working right now. So if I press B, as you can see, we are now holding the box in front of us. But if I press B again, nothing is happening, and we need to program that part. For that, I'm just going to put to make the player not change into a cat, so like that. Anyways, now to throw. Well, if we press B and we are grabbing, what I want to do is to make grabbed equal to false first of all, and now I want to throw something. But the thing is, I can only throw something if it has a rigid value 2D, and the way I'm going to do the script, we can also grab stuff that are not rigid bodies. So what I'm going to do is if hit dot collider dot game object dot get component, and we are getting the component rigid body 2D of whatever we are grabbing, and it checks if it isn't null. If it isn't null, we can do something, and what we're going to do is give it a certain speed or a force. So hit dot collider dot game object, and again we want to access this, so dot get component rigid by 2D, and we want to access the velocity and make it equal to something. And I'm going to put here a public float called throw force, and the way that we're going to do this is that I'm going to make it throw the object in a 45-degree angle. So first I'm going to create a vector 2 that points up, so up, and in the direction that the player is facing, so it will point this way if the player is facing this direction, or this way if the player is facing the other direction. So the y will always be 1, and the x will be transform.localscale.x, so that we always throw it in the direction that the player is facing, and we want to multiply it by the throw force, and it's safe. Now let's change the hit force for something. I'm going to put it at 10, like so. And if I hit play, let's see if this is working fine. So B to grab, and if I press B, you can see that it froze it, and that's basically what we wanted. Now there's a little thing that I forgot, which is actually there's two things that I forgot, which is, for instance, if I'm here and I press B, so actually this time it went well, but sometimes the box can clip like that, as you can see. And the other thing that happened is that I forgot to check if the object is grabbable, so I can even grab terrain for some reason and put it somewhere. And this could also be a cool mechanic that you can give to your game, but I'm not going to give it, so only to grabbable stuff. So here, to check if we can grab, I need to put here if hit collider, and if the hit.collider.tag equals to grabbable, then we actually can grab it, and that's it. And the other part about when we throw it, it could clip into the terrain and stay there. The way that I'm going to do it is I'm going to check if the hold point is inside a terrain. So right now, if we were holding a box, it would be inside terrain, and if I pressed B, we shouldn't let go of the box. So what I'm going to do is to make an overlap point over there. So instead of making an else, I'm going to put here else if physics 2D dot overlap point, and we are checking if the hold point dot position, meaning if the point where we are holding the object is colliding with something. And you can also give it a mask. I don't do it, but you should, so do a mask if you want. And because this is not right now is checking if there is, and I want to check if there isn't. Only if there isn't, So put that exclamation mark over there. Only if there isn't something colliding with the hold point, we can throw the game object. So save, and I forgot something, which is a parenthesis. Going to Unity, play, and now if I press B here, as you can see, I can no longer grab the terrain, which is kind of sad, but oh well. And if I throw the box inside the terrain, as you can see, I can't actually drop it, but I can drop it. Oops. But I can drop it here, as you can see. And we actually also need to add a mask called not grabbed. And now let's make that mask happen. So public layer mask not box. So if I save this, oops, and I forgot the parentheses. So if I save this, not grabbed, my bad. And now here in this grabber script that we created, you'll see this layer mask, and we can select wherever are the layers that we want to see, and basically want to see every layer except for the layer where the box is, and so we're going to add a layer to the box. So here in the layer, I'm going to add layer and make here a grabbed layer. Anyways, I'm going to now into the layer of the box and click on the grabbed, and now here in the player, only if it isn't grabbed, then I can throw. So if I grab the box and hit B, you can see that it throws a box, and that's basically it. There's only one feature that I want to show you, which is if I click on the box and delete this rigid body, because the box is still grabbable, we can still grab it. So I can grab the box and put it there, and this could be a cool game mechanic. Anyways, thank you for watching this tutorial. Any requests that you have, put them in the comments. See you in the next one.